What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about Nio. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off with data points. Sunday evening is going to be a big one. You have industrial production, retail sales, and then more importantly, unemployment. In unemployment, you do have at least a good trend going down. So a lot of this data could really help Chinese stocks and all through that Nio. So this is potentially a good catalyst. In addition to that, a China US deal might be coming this week, or at least we might have some additional updates that could again be another kind of good catalyst. There isn't really any planned date for that though, so it may or may not be coming out this week. And then aside from that, the only other catalyst that I do see that could really help Nio is their weekly registration numbers. Over the last 4 weeks, it's been unfortunately trending down, so not necessarily the best. But if this upcoming week you see a nice kind of change and a nice push higher, that could really prompt some buying. So again, that might be a good catalyst. The outright kind of bearish viewpoint on this week is because of the Middle East. So ultimately, you're seeing a lot of tensions, a lot of back and forth between Israel and Iran. Both countries seem to be wanting to drag in other countries, making it more of a world war type of scenario. So far, I haven't really seen any countries actually agreeing, but nonetheless though, anticipate oil to go up substantially come Monday. So that in among itself could also add a lot of just suppression both to the Chinese and American markets. So naturally you might have that occur. I don't really anticipate, speaking of suppression, shorts to be that active this week. So going into this upcoming week, 13.28% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 204.92 million shares overall being shorted. So even on Friday, shorts did return 1.62 million shares, and they've been returning overall since their earnings on the 3rd. So I do anticipate shorts to pretty much continue that, keep on returning this week up until most likely Friday. Friday will be linked to options. So we do have a fairly heavy kind of open interest option chain right here. So looking at the $3 strike price, you have 16,000, 21,000 at that 350, 58,000 at that 4, 19,000 at that 450, and then 67,000 at the 5. So come Friday, if Nio is close to that 3 or possibly 350, you might see shorts try to really double down and suppress Nio below those strike prices, because both shorts and market makers have a financial interest in obviously having these, or at least most of this, to expire worthless. So with this past week though, with it closing slightly above 350, so you do have 5,000 in open interest that's in the money. Unfortunately, that's not really enough to cause any substantial spike. So market makers will have to cover that. But again, I don't really see that crazy of a spike. Aside from everything that I did bring up, there really isn't anything planned associated to Nio for this upcoming week. Only thing that kind of came out over this weekend that's worthwhile to bring up is saying that they are halting US expansion. But honestly, I think the writings that would be absolutely stupid for them to actually do that. So in reality, I don't know anyone would be selling Nio because of this, but this is the only update that I feel is relevant and worthwhile to bring up. But looking forward into this upcoming week with that 351, it is currently trading between this pivot and this S1. So 349 and then 331. Both have been very much hard tested in the past, and both have been very good support levels. So just watch for that. Like I said, I think just Monday there will be a natural suppression. So anticipate this 349 to be touched. And worst case scenario for whether it be Monday or later in the week, 331. So that one obviously was tested because of their most recent earnings. So we do know that's a good support level as well. And let's say a good catalyst such as the States China deal come to fruition, 378 and then 406 will be the next strong kind of support levels. So this 378 is ultimately this 50-day moving average. So that one is going to be a big deal and has been a big deal in Nio's case. But in reality, that's also at the same time where you do see shorts increase. Even though, like I said, shorts have been slowly returning, when they did increase during that one day, it was to ensure that it did get knocked down here. So they're still very much aware of Nio's technicals. They're just strategically trying to push it lower. So let me know your viewpoint on Nio. What do you believe is going to be the next very big catalyst specific to Nio that would actually prompt Nio to move higher? Because I feel like there's a lot of things, when I've asked this in the past, a lot of people bring up good valid points, but in the past, those good points haven't really prompted any institutions to stop what they're doing and buy Nio. So I think, just in my opinion, the whole geopolitical type of scenario with the states, that does need to be fully rectified. Then Nio might be able to kind of successfully move up to at least that 50-day moving average, or better yet, this right here, that 100-day moving average, which is sitting at $4. I know that doesn't sound all that great, saying that potentially upside of $4, but Nio is just getting crazy suppressed, and it just seems as though that Wall Street or some big entities out there want Nio to fail. So in my opinion, by the end of the week, I do feel we will be kind of between this S1 and this S2. And so for those of you that kind of tuned into my last week's video, I did mention that we pretty much would be landing between this pivot and this S1, and that's pretty much exactly where we did land. So this upcoming week, I do feel like there will be more further suppression, which is unfortunate, but you know what, for those of you that believe in Nio, having these cheaper prices is kind of a dream come true. But let me know your viewpoint on Nio. Where do you see things going in the short term? What do you think is going to be the next big catalyst? Let me know your general thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.